let's pivot to some college football. I titled this one "Any Given Sunday" because we're starting off with Purdue. Ohio State went to Purdue and got the doors blown off. I'm gonna start this one with Hank.
Look, sucker season has finally started. We talking about sucker season, young man. Let me explain to you about sucker season. Okay, let me talk to you a little bit about sucker season. This is sucker season for you. See, you got all these teams. All right, what are we at now? 8 weeks in? Not 8 weeks in, and everybody's talking about, oh, this is a Heisman candidate quarterback you have. Oh, this is a national championship contender. Oh, they're gonna blow right through their season, and then you get a team that loses. Oh, the coach is on the hot seat for 2 weeks in. Now, what we are is in late October. We're going into November. This is where the cream rises to the top. This is where the water gets its level. This is sucker season. This is where you've had these cats, these teams, when adversity hits, do they crap or do they get off the pot? Okay? Are they lickers or are they suckers? What did we find out from your Ohio State Buckeyes? Yeah, your Ohio State Buckeyes. Don't sit there and perpetrate a fraud I tell on you. But what you find out about them, okay, they suckers. Why? Because when they was playing teams like Oklahoma State and TCU, and oh, by the way, Penn State, okay?
I think Penn State would beat Purdue.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
You know what? If it wasn't for 3 turnovers, they don't beat Indiana, okay? They suckers too, okay? They had no business losing to Michigan State, all right? Coming off of a bye. They had no business losing to Michigan State.
But Purdue lost to Eastern.
Uh-huh.
I said, but Purdue lost to Eastern.
Oh, yeah, sucker season. This is what my point. This is what I'm talking about. This is sucker season. Don't believe the hype. Marcus Ray, who is a Big Ten analyst and an ex-University of Michigan football player, had the audacity, dare I say the unmitigated gall, to sit here and say that Purdue is the best team in the Big Ten with 3 losses because he has succumbed to sucker season, okay? Because the Ohio State Buckeyes have given up more big plays this year on defense than they have in their entire history. They've given up the longest run play and the longest pass play in the same season.
Well, in his defense, Purdue has the best win in the Big Ten so far.
They have the best win in the Big Ten. And listen, if you've slept on Purdue, they do have probably the most exciting young freshman in college football today in Rondale Moore. If you don't know about it, he's been doing this all season. He didn't just do it to Ohio State. He just did it on that stage. But that young man is fun to watch. He ain't but about he look like he about 5'6", maybe $170. But he bench presses 600 pounds. I mean, not bench press, leg press.
Oh,
leg press, 600 pounds. You saw it. You saw it in that last touchdown if you watched that game, which I know everybody hasn't seen right now. But don't believe the hype on some of these teams. In the college football season, you have young men your age and younger, right? And it's hard to get them up every week. They start reading their press clippings. They start thinking that they're great. They think they can go in there and throw their jock strap onto the 50-yard line and whoop a team's tail. And it takes the heart away from some of these teams. And guess what happens? They succumb to sucker season. All right? So what you're going to see right now, and then watch this week. We've got a crop of games this week that's going to reveal more suckers. Okay? And I promise you, you're going to see it. Either you a licker or you a sucker.
All right, DeVon.
Welcome to sucker season.
Well, look, man, we got Dwayne Haskins had 470 yards passing. So it tells you that they weren't very balanced.
No.
You look at what Mike
threw
Weber
the ball
had.
73 times, D.
Yeah. I mean,
when the last time you seen an Ohio State University team put the ball up that much in a season?
Yeah.
Much less in one game.
So, and I've talked to Hank about this And I talked to my brother. I talked to a lot of Michigan people. I talked to people in Wisconsin. But I've watched a lot of Ohio State games. I watched a number of them up in person. Urban Meyer coaches like you coach basketball. What he does is, think about you Piston fans out there in the old days when you had Vinny, Joe, and Isaiah. Hot man gets the ball. And they might run all kinds of plays, misdirection, but at the end of the day, Vinny going to end up with it with 4 seconds on the clock. That's how he coaches football. So when he'll come out, if you watch it, even when he had Barrett and those guys, he'll come out, throw, do a whole bunch of things. He did against Wisconsin. Wisconsin's defense would stuff him. And then what he would do is then say, okay, I got 2 players. I got my running back. I got my quarterback right now that I can trust. And so then he would do is he would run Barrett. Why? Because you can account for everybody but Barrett in the running game. You don't have enough people in the box. He would do design dropbacks and run. And what that would do was start to get momentum for Ohio State. He did it against Michigan. In the overtime game, I knew which 2 players that game they lost down, Michigan lost down there, who you going to get the ball to. Because he had just done it against Wisconsin. It wasn't like he was going to go to anybody else. That's why when you watched him when he played Clemson and they got trucked, because they knew it. And they weren't going to let him get away with it. So he just got blown out the doors.
Both times. Yeah.
And he was exposed. The other weakness he got is ego. Now, there's a lot of great coaches with ego. But some of those great coaches know when they're in the moment. They know when ego's not enough. Saban in the championship. His ego could have been stubborn enough. I'm going to stick with the choice I made. But he got like, no, I got to go to young boy Tua. I got to suck it up, and I got to rise something different, even though it might not feel right or be right. Like sometimes you got to make the adjustment. Urban on that 4th down play when he went for it. I think he could have got a field goal. How he had momentum. His ego allowed him to make a decision that he went. Now, when we talked about it on the other show, like he's always been aggressive. But he's been aggressive. When you watch the moments he's aggressive, it's in those 4th and 3, 4th and 4, where he's got a dual threat quarterback, where he's doing a run pass option.
Right, he don't have that.
He's trying to do that with a quarterback who can't run. So this is what he's going to do during the break. His backup is going to become his new Tim Tebow. He got 2 weeks, and this is where Michigan's got to watch out. This is where it's dangerous for Michigan, who just like playing man-to-man. You watch Purdue. Purdue play man, they mix zone. With Ohio State, if you watch their patterns, they can't throw intermediate routes. It used to drive me crazy to watch teams defend them like they don't throw intermediate routes. All they do is they throw deep. If you watch them, how many times and how many attempts did they have? They had 73 attempts? Or
I told you, yeah.
73 attempts. How many of those attempts were over 20 yards looking for a pass interference call? Mm-hmm. Pass interference call or a catch. So if you watch them, they got patterns, man. And the Boilermakers picked up on them patterns. Then defensively, we talked about it, and Darnell, I think you talked about it a lot, in missing tackles, not wrapping up. And that's something that they normally do. They normally sure-handed and tackling. But you think about it was they were performing a little bit better before Urban came back. They weren't missing a lot of tackles before Urban came back. They was running a little bit better before Urban. So that tension we hearing about the coaches, all this stuff, he was making calls in that game related to things that weren't in the game.
Right.
He was playing for what he put Smith in, his AD. He was playing for a whole bunch of other stuff that wasn't about the game. Mm-hmm. And you can see he was calling the game that way. He was coaching the game that way. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with these 2-week break. This is where they say he's great. But I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to have a running quarterback element in their game. Whether he's going to stick somebody in, he's going to run some type of, running game or something. He's going to do something, to have much more of a running quarterback element. He can't do it with Haskins because Haskins can't run.
Here's the problem that I see with that, though, D. Okay, you got 8 weeks in, and where this starts to have a problem is when you had J.T. Barrett, your offensive line could run block, okay, because you had a running quarterback They were able to run block. They were able to zone block. They were able to make space, which helped too. Mike Weber. It also helped J.K. Dobbins. Okay. The problem what you have here is you've gone your entire season. You've not been able to run block well at all. Now you're going to go 2 weeks into the season. You're going to try to put a run pass option in to an offensive line who you have not proven all season that they can just straight up man-to-man run block. Okay, this is the thing that you're going to have to see. I say that because I attribute it to what I've seen with Michigan. All right, Michigan went the opposite way, where now they've got a run pass option with their quarterback, which has also helped their offensive line be more productive. Now you've got Ohio State that's you're trying to get to be a straight line blocking. Now you're asking them to switch in the middle. I don't know how that's going to work.
No, what you're going to have is a simple wildcat formation. Okay. You can even do that with. I'm gonna tell you right now.
What you're not gonna be able to. What you're not gonna be able to do though is mask that wildcat formation.
He's not worried about masking it. You put Weber or something like you can create a wildcat. I'm telling you. Go back if a YouTube to Tim Tebow offense. YouTube Tim Tebow offense. That's what you're gonna see because he knows he needs to force. That's what he is. He masterminds matchups. He masterminds getting the extra person on the edge. If you watch him, he shifts to get an advantage on the edge to be able to run. He masterminds that through formations and shifts. In 2 weeks, he'll put that in. Don't be surprised. And what'll kill people is don't get caught too much in man-to-man.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be making sure all eyes on the ball and make Haskins make tight throws.
Right.
That's what the Boilermakers did. Make him make tight throws. He can throw deep. He got great touch. Can he throw intermediate?
Do you think that they make a quarterback change at this point?
You can't do that when this kid threw for 470 yards. He didn't really feel like he lost the game.
So, because the reason why I'm asking this now, you start trying to throw in this wrinkle. Yeah. And the one thing we know about the quarterback position is rhythm. Okay? So now you start trying to do these other pieces. And does his stubbornness, because he's got two quality running backs, does his stubbornness to say, we're just going to be more dedicated to the run versus a lot of this misdirection?
He could be doing that, but it could be simple as how big is Dwayne Haskins? He's a big fella.
Yeah.
It could be simple as Dwayne, you catch it, you run forward.
The problem is
for 3 yards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but did you watch any of that Purdue game?
Huh?
He almost dislocated his kneecap trying to slide. So I don't think that the young man is as athletically sound. I think he's a heck of a passer. Okay? But when it comes to trying to run the football, I think he's got a great face for radio. I just don't think that
I'm gonna tell you right now.
I don't think that's his game.
This is what I can see. He's in the shotgun. He's got the back in front of him. They block down, trap around. He just runs straight.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because down the road now they got Michigan State. That's a great run defense. Yep. Okay, then we know they got Michigan. They also got Maryland on the docket. Okay, is this what you want to see him doing going down the road?
What I'm saying,
notwithstanding.
No. What I'm saying is that's to keep you honest, to create the one-on-one stuff they want outside. At the end of the day, he want to throw the KJ Hill outside. At the end of the day, he want them to get the ball, but he's going to do enough to pull you. This is all to pull you in, so he can go deep. That's all he's doing. We ain't talking about him giving you a heavy dose of this. All he wants to do is do that. So then you think he's gonna do that? He gonna hit, he gonna throw the wide receiver screen to one of those guys. They're gonna break it up. Like he's trying to create those space and mismatches. You'll see more of those wrinkles just to make you put one or two more guys in the box so he can go deep. That's all it is. That's kind of how he does it.
So let me ask you one question.
Mm-hmm.
So this friction that they're talking about, there's supposed to be some sort of friction with the athletic director and Urban Meyer, which the athletic director, Gene Smith, came out and said, that's just
Gene lying.
Huh? Of
He
course
lying.
he is. They don't tell him.
I bet you. I'm gonna check this. I got some people in the street in Buckeye land. I got some people. I guarantee. I got $100 saying he lying.
I know he lying like a rug. But my question to you is, what is that tension? What if you kind of got a pulse on that? You tell us here what you think that tension is.
You got to take the hit for him, and you got to think about for Gene Smith. He this is like a second or third big. You can't take too many hits. Like, he's as big AD in the country, and he's taking a couple hits for big coaches. You know, ADs can't keep taking hits like that.
Right.
And for a coach who tried to get rid of him kind of when he came in, didn't like it because he thought that he was part of the previous regime and all the other issues. So now I got to take a hit for you? Now they can talk about how cordial stuff is, but he literally was trying to move Gene out when he took the job.
Mm-hmm.
But Gene had too much connection, and he's good at his job. So we get over that. But now I got to take the hit from somebody who almost didn't want me there. Now you need me? Now, I ain't going to never come out and say that, but think about that. He didn't want him there when he came. He wanted to clean house.
And so with that being said, okay, because now what you're saying is you got some administrative issues going on with the Buckeyes.
And the president wasn't too keen.
And we know the president wasn't too keen. So my question to you is, what sort of, because see, everybody thought that, well, we're Buckeye Nation and blah, blah, blah. You're going down right now into the home stretch. Okay, you're going into November. What do you think? You know, what do you look at for this team going into these last 4 games with this going on? Because this is administrative. This ain't on the field.
I'm going to say that they're either going to pull it together and run the table, or at least enough to get into the playoffs, which might save his job, or Urban going to try to find a way out. He already complained about health stuff. That's starting to leak. Mm-hmm. That was what happened at Florida. So he might be laying the groundwork for saying, you know, I got to think about my health bonus. I've done enough in the game, and frankly, he was really good in the booth. He was really good at ESPN.
Yeah, he was.
He was really good at what he did. You know, he cares enough about his legacy, and he might feel like, look, I put enough things together. I've dominated in 2 major conferences. You know, he pushed himself to that Mount Rushmore that he could do it. Or if the tension of them coaches, you see what's happening after these 2 weeks. And these are there's a lot of losses could be right there. Like there's some losses coming up. Mm-hmm. I think they get one. I frankly think they get 1 L. Unless they find that wrinkle in that offense that can help that defense. Because I think their offense has to help their defense with time of possession. Like, I think he's got to get back to grinding and allowing his offense to help his defense be effective, getting it so they can be 3 and outs. His offense just can't be quick strike. His offense has got to have a little bit more time of possession. I think he feels more comfortable with that. Those are the kind of ways that he can eat time off the clock if he gets a little lead against Michigan, where he's got to give him another chance. If you see some of those wrinkles and some buy-in, he's going to go. But that's still, I think there's a lot of pressure on him right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if he exits stage left. If you start hearing over the next week, over this bye, more stuff about there's some reports about his health, that's his people putting that stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree laying the tracks.
I agree. Well, you know, they've already the coach that took the 3 games when he was suspended, they signed him as quote unquote coach in waiting. Yeah. So I head coach in waiting. So I think they're already laying some groundwork. Yeah, laying some groundwork for that. And how soon will these things transpire? Here's my feeling, and like I said, I'm not just speaking to this as a rabid Michigan fan, but I wonder what they come out and look like against Nebraska. And I heard people say, "Oh no, they're gonna roll Nebraska because every time they come off the bye week, they come off ready." But Nebraska can hang some points on you. And I'm not saying Nebraska is going to beat Ohio State in Columbus by any stretch. That's ridiculous. But what does the defense look like? Does the defense give up 35 points to this team? You know, if they give up 35, 40 points to a Nebraska team, then we're talking about some major problems. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think they're in they needed this. They needed this. This break. They needed this break a lot, and it's going to be curious to see if they fix that tension in the locker room. Because the thing about it is, some of these guys are head coaches, right? So you ain't really bullying no assistant coaches like nobody who hasn't. So some of the problems he got some head coaches who are like, you ain't the big bad wolf to us,
right?
We go out here,
and Wilson especially, right?
We can go out here, we can go out here and have some words in this back office and see who come out. I think that's part of what he's got to watch. That was a great thing about getting some of those coaches because they bring a level of leadership. But in instances like this, they're not just going to take anything. They can read all this stuff.
And Greg Schiano was a coach in the league.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He ain't going to put up with all that. He don't normally do that anyway. So you ain't going to come over here and yell at me. You ain't pulling no Sabans over here because I would have knocked Saban out. So, that's the kind of coaches he got.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. We had a beatdown in East Lansing in the rivalry game. I'm going to turn it over to DeVon and let him share his thoughts.
So I put the hat on. If you had a chance to check me out, you could check me out on Facebook and see a little video I put out where, following the end of the game day show where Lee does his little call. And I knew it was some problems because in the pregame show, they had Anthony Carter and they had Wangler out there, and it didn't make a lot of sense because they replayed a play that had nothing to do with the game. And so when it was the Wisconsin game, and so I got a little mad about that. So I did my whole thing with Wisconsin. So then Michigan State thing came on. I got a lot of Michigan State fans. I'm like, I'm gonna continue the momentum. I got some Michigan State fans in the building. Had to come out again from Michigan, and what I knew they were ready was when my boy was out there walking around, warming up, and the whole Michigan State team came out, was talking that junk. And he just stood there while they walked through. I said, this is back where Hank was saying some fight. I said, these boys are actually got to fight. I think Hank sent me a message. I think you sent me a message. You were like, was that you that said, you sent me that message where you said the fighter, somebody sent that message about the fighters up. Who said it to these young boys?
I did. I sent you the video.
You sent me that. And I was just like, man, they ready. But what I was really loved about, we talked about it, is that Harbaugh made the adjustment. Making the adjustment was everything. That offense, that defense, they did it without their top defensive player. They just looked balanced. And Shea Patterson, and I said the reason why Michigan struggled against Michigan State is they did not have a quarterback who reflected the coach. Because in a rivalry game, your quarterback matters. And Shea Patterson, coming from the SEC, understood rivalries. And all the energy he had, the excitement he had on every play was just incredible. So I felt like I had some momentum going from the week before with the Wisconsin game, where I took a lot of hits from here up in Madison. In that Michigan State game, I was like, they knocked this one off. They could be on a run. Because this was kind of a trap game coming out of the Wisconsin game because it was kind of built big. But that offense he has in place is playing, is doing it. And the scary thing about it is they get one of their top receivers back possibly here in a few weeks, right? It sounds like Black might be coming back. Mm-hmm. They keep adding some pieces back into that team. It's and Harbaugh seems like he's coaching like the Harbaugh at Stanford. The plays look like they got a little bit more creativity. They're not as predictable. Man, I'm loving it. 2 weeks in a row.
Well, let me tell you this. What I'm excited about with this team is there was everything that could have gone wrong in the Michigan State game. Okay? It seemed like the heavens themselves were Spartan fans. All right? You had all 4 seasons happen in East Lansing all at once. You had wind. You had rain. You had hail. It got cold. It was wet. They had a lightning delay. It had everything going against Michigan. Okay, it was ridiculous. But you had the walk before the game. But what I liked was what this team has that the other teams that Jim Harbaugh did not have. Okay, they had talent before, but intestinal fortitude, cojones, whatever, guts, whatever you want to call it, they didn't quit. They didn't wither. They didn't do any of those things because that game got tight. Okay, and it looked like Michigan State had swung the momentum in the second half. And then Michigan comes back with the big pass, but they beat the team up. They beat the Spartans up physically, especially on defense. Okay, and this is what Jim Harbaugh brings to. This is why the fan base of the University of Michigan needs to calm down, because this is what they signed up for with Jim Harbaugh. He had to get his players in place, not so much from a talent perspective, but from a mentality perspective. Okay. Jim Harbaugh and Darnell, Darnell, as well as DeVon, you know this, has a nasty disposition, okay? His San Francisco 49er teams were nasty. They wanted to beat you up, okay? They wanted to take your soul away. That's what you have right now with what he has with the team. This team is not going to quit. This team is not going to wither. They have confidence in their quarterback. They can run plays. They have a very extensive playbook. But when you got a quarterback that has the common sense that God gave a toilet paper roll, you're not going to call those plays. All right? You're not going to call those plays. And now what you're seeing with Shea Patterson is you're seeing a hybrid of a power run game, and you're seeing some spread, and you're seeing some run pass option, and that's going to make going down the road very difficult to defend, as well as with that defense right now that adjusts every play. Okay, the game you're going to want to watch that's going to make Michigan a very scary team is the Penn State game, because now you're going to see where Pep Hamilton and that offensive coaching staff, they're going to open the playbook all the way up. Okay, you got 4 games left. There's no need to hide nothing from anybody else. Watch what happens. Okay, it starts with Penn State. They've seen what Ohio State has to offer. It's going to be like catch us if you can. I look forward to it.
Yeah, and the only thing that makes me nervous is Don Brown refusal at times, at least play man under too deep or something. I mean, he's so committed to the man-to-man at times when part of getting back in that game was all the damn pass interference calls. And I just drove me crazy because if you're up, like you got pass interference calls for like all the way down the field. It's like it's one of those things where it's like, know when time and situation, understand that, but you don't have to play man-to-man all the time. I argue with my brother about this all the time. Somebody need to talk to him. Harbaugh at some point need to come in and pull a Saban on these.
Okay. If you think about when they got those pass interference calls, I noticed that too. But what I also noticed was who they had playing. They had Ambry Thomas in the game. They had another freshman in their secondary. They had pulled the starters out. They thought the game was over. Okay, especially when Michigan State came in with their backup quarterback. Okay, so it's like, well, maybe the game is over. All of a sudden, you got a pass interference on that side. You got another couple of personal fouls on that side. All of a sudden, now they're down to the 30-yard line. They pulled those second stringers back out. They brought the starters back in. Michigan State lost 15 yards, and the ball game was over. I think that they starters understand it. You don't see it too much in the course of the game if you just remember when they started moving down the field. You don't see it no more in the course of the game as much as you did first part of the season. Plus, your linebackers have taken the slot and stuff away. They're doing a lot of creative things, with their front seven, which I think is really neat. So, I think that I understand what you're saying. But the thing is that press coverage, you better get to the quarterback, though. If you're going to press coverage.
And no, your opponent, like Ohio State, look, Haskins can beat you deep.
Right.
Take it away.
Get home. You better get home with your front four. Better get home.
And you're not tall enough. None of them corners are tall. Give them some help. So it's like you can do it, but don't give too many people a dose, because against really good teams with some tall receivers, that's what happened against Notre Dame. If he would have just given a little bit of help over the top, they had size.
Right.
But
right.
So would you going to have these guys running next to these guys who like a foot taller than them? Give them some help over the top.
Of course, now you didn't get to play from your defensive front against Notre Dame.
But you know that, so you got to get help over the top.
You got to get help over the top.
You watch Notre Dame struggling. The same quarterback is not playing anymore.
Right, right.
So that tells you, because everybody else figured that out. Why couldn't you figure it out? So that's the part that tell me you'd be undefeated if you would have listened to me. Put me on the timeline, man. Man, they drive me crazy, man. He gonna make me take my. He the one coach might make me take my Michigan hat off.
You know, but to his defense, they've been playing lights out. I mean, Felton Davis didn't get any passes thrown to him before he went out the game. And what they do is they rely upon a quarterback's accuracy. Mm-hmm. You better be accurate. Now, that scares you when you start talking about Haskins. And, you know, dare I say you get a chance to play against Tua. But we'll see. You know, but it's fun to talk about. Like I said before, right now, they are playing like one of the top teams in the nation and the best team in the Big Ten. You know, the most complete team. But we'll see. We got a lot of football left.
UCF is undefeated this year. I know last year they ran the table, but when it came down to it, they didn't get any love from the committee. I was just wondering if this year, if they go undefeated again, will the committee let them into the college football playoff? Starting with, I don't know who I started with last time, but I'll start with DeVon.
I think if they go undefeated, when you and I talked about this, when you look at the teams who are ahead of them, if they go undefeated in those losses, because some of those teams are going to have losses because some of them have to play each other, they could be a team that gets in that spot. And if they're there, they've been undefeated over a 2-year period. You got to be able to do it. They've been undefeated over a 2-year period without – you can't put it on the coach because the coach is over in Nebraska struggling. They still winning. So I would say if they're undefeated – this is the year where you don't have a Pac-12 team that could do it. You got Oklahoma kind of there, but they could lose and be out of it. Texas kind of there could be used, but I think they better than both those teams. And they still got South Florida, who's undefeated, who's going to be ranked that they might when they face them. And I think Cincinnati's ranked down the stretch. So they're going to, unlike last year, they're going to be playing multiply ranked teams down the stretch. So I think if they're there and those losses are there, they could literally get a bid.
Here's the way I feel about it. See, the thing that kind of drives me batty about this is you got this group of 5 teams. What do you got them there for? Okay, if you're not going to include them in this playoff format, you got teams like Central Florida. You had teams like Boise State, okay, where it's not their fault that you have some of these major universities won't play them. You know, when Scott Frost first got to Central Florida actually came up to Ann Arbor, and Michigan played them. And they gave Michigan fits for a half. All right? They gave him fits for a half. You could see there that he had a talented team, and he's going to be able to put something together. The next year they went undefeated, which was last year. And now they're undefeated again. So what that speaks to, and you are in a hotbed of recruits in Central Florida, okay, in Florida, period. All right, so you're going to be able to get some players. So this argument that you don't play anybody, okay, now unfortunately for Central Florida, Cincinnati lost this past week, okay. You got Charlie Strong in South Florida who, you know, even though he's had a good team, you know, Charlie's teams ain't some of the most disciplined teams you ever want to see in the league. So, you know, you pretty much have to kind of give them that, but you don't have them able to play nobody because nobody want to play them because they're dangerous and they don't want to mess up their season. But what happens is you've got a lot of these people in these committees, and what they want to say is if I bring Central Florida in, it's a charity case, even though they haven't lost a ball game. I'm not saying that is right. I'm telling you what the committee is saying. It's a charity case because they're a group of 5 teams, and the only thing we're doing is bringing them in for the fodder. But if you got to keep on dancing the dance with a Pac-10, a Pac-12 team with 2 and 3 losses, or a Big 12 team, right? That you don't know who to take because they don't have enough teams to have a championship game, and you know can't nobody play no defense. You know, it gets to the point where you have an undefeated team that used to mean something. I'm with you. I thought long and hard about this, but the fact that they absolutely last year in the bowl game should give you everything that you need to know. Come on now, you know what I'm talking about. They beat the
phraseology.
What'd you say?
All right.
I'm just saying that's what they look it up. Okay, don't Google it. But I'm saying is this is what this team has done. Their whole body of work, their resume is impressive. Okay, it's most impressive any team out there not named Alabama. So I'm saying, yeah, I'm with you. Central Florida deserves a shot. Are they gonna get it this year? No, they're not.
But the thing about it, Alabama is a great team. But when we talk about strength of schedule, their schedule is trash.
It's garbage.
They haven't beat anybody. But we give them all the excuses in the world, but we want to talk about people's schedule with everybody else.
Exactly.
They might be two good teams, but if you look at the body of their work, who they play, even going down the stretch, they ain't really played a lot of great teams up to this point.
And the teams that they say are great teams got 2 and 3 losses.
Yeah, they mean trash and somebody else. So I mean, and I'm not saying that Alabama's not a great team. You can see the eye test, but if we talk about strength of schedule, we can't just talk about that with Central Florida and not use it with Alabama. Like they playing nobodies. They beat them like they nobodies, but they nobodies, and they not nobodies against them. They nobody against other teams they play.
Right.
Hey, is the Pac-12 done? I saw Washington State beat Oregon, and I'm looking at the roster, and I'm saying, I don't know, man. I don't think the Pac-12 is going to get any teams in the playoffs. Are they done, or do they have one more chance?
We have to talk about this. They done.
They done. They're done. If you think Washington State holds the Pac-12's future, their future is done.
Yeah.
Done.